Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Gyan Sampada. From some of our previous classes, we are dealing with the basics of semiconductor devices, under which we are studying about the p-n junction at equilibrium. And under this, we have understood what actually is a p-n junction, how it is formed, different methods, as well as the energy level diagrams, explaining about the nature of flow of current, which finally gave us the information about the barrier potential as well as the width of the depletion region. And after understanding all these things, today we are going to study about the junction capacitance and its determination. So if you look at the word junction, we understand that we are dealing with the p-n junction, and junction means especially the region where they meet, that is n-type and p-type semiconductor. So our main concentration will be on the depletion region, and capacitance is nothing but the ability to store charges. So what actually is a junction capacitance and how to determine that is our today's topic. And for this, we need to consider a p-n junction. So one side is a p-type, another one side is n-type. And this is the width of the depletion region, which extends from minus x1 to x2, totally x1 plus x2 will be x. As we have already understood, towards p side, we are having negative charges in the depletion region, whereas towards n side we will be having positive charges. That is, when we are considering the p-n junction, the left of the depletion region is negatively ionized and right of the depletion region is positively ionized. And because of this potential, there exists certain amount of capacitance at the junction. So what is the amount of capacitance? Let us derive now. And for that, let us consider the charge as Q, and the charge Q can be given as Q is equals to E Na x1 into S, or even we can say E Nd x2 into S. So we are calling this as equation number 1. Here, Na is the density of acceptors, Nd is the density of donors, and S is the area of cross section. And x1 and x2, as we can see here, that is the extent of depletion region. That is with respect to positively and negatively ionized regions. So actually why we need to consider the charge is that if we want to find out the capacitance is nothing but Q by V, that is charge by potential or voltage. So for that we are going to find out what is Q, and here we see that Q is depending on x1 or x2. And in the last class, while deriving the width of the depletion region, we have derived that x1 is equals to square root of 2 times of epsilon Vb divided by Ena into 1 plus Na by Nd, which we are calling as equation number 2. So we are just considering one part, that is Q is equals to Ena x1 into S. Similar thing can be done with Q is equals to End x2 into S. Both will lead to similar results. And now next we will substitute equation number 2, that is value of x1, in equation number 1. And then we obtain Q is equals to Ena into S as it is. And in place of x1, we have substituted this value. And in order to simplify this, let us take Ena into S inside the square root. So E will become E square, Na will become Na square, S will become S square. And now we can observe that here one E and Na will get cancelled with the denominator. And if we simplify this bracket, Nd by Nd will become 1 plus Na by Nd. And if we look at this, we observe that one E will get cancelled with the denominator and one Na will also get cancelled. And this Nd in the denominator can be brought to the numerator, and by doing this we obtain Q is equals to 2 epsilon Vb E into Na into Nd S square as it is divided by Nd plus Na raised to 1 by 2. And this gives the charge. Let us call this as equation number 3. And next, moving on to the capacitance, that is junction capacitance per unit area, which is defined as Cj is equals to dq by dVb, where Vb is the barrier potential. So it is clear that if we differentiate equation number 3, which explains about Q, with respect to Vb, then we get Cj. Thus, differentiating equation number 3 with respect to Vb will give us Cj is equals to 2 epsilon Ena Nd S square by Nd plus Na raised to 1 by 2 remains as it is, but Vb raised to 1 by 2 we need to differentiate, which will be 1 by 2 into Vb raised to 1 by 2 minus 1. That will be Vb raised to minus 1 by 2. So it is nothing but 1 divided by square root of Vb. Now this 1 by root Vb can be taken inside the square root, and also when 2 is taken inside the square root it becomes 4. So here just there is a rearrangement, and finally we are taking epsilon outside the square root. That is, if you multiply and divide it by epsilon within the square root, here it will be square root of epsilon square divided by square root of epsilon. So square root of epsilon square is nothing but epsilon, which is taken outside, and in the denominator there exists one epsilon. And we are calling this as equation number 4. So just think why we have taken this epsilon outside the square root. Whether by taking this epsilon outside, are you getting some standard formula? Just think once before moving to the next step. So if you could recall from our last class, we have the barrier thickness or width of the depletion region as x is equals to x1 plus x2, which was equals to square root of 2 epsilon Vb divided by E into Na plus Nd divided by Na Nd, which we are calling as equation number 5 here. And now if you observe equation 5 and equation number 4, it is clear that this term is nothing but 1 by x. So simply substituting the value of barrier thickness in junction capacitance, we get Cj is equals to epsilon divided by x1 plus x2. And this epsilon can be written as epsilon naught into epsilon r, that is the standard notation. Epsilon naught is absolute permittivity, whereas epsilon r is relative permittivity, or what we call as dielectric constant. And finally, this is the formula which gives the details about junction capacitance per unit area. And if we look at these two forms of junction capacitance, these can be measured in the units of farad per unit cross-sectional area. So this is a brief discussion about junction capacitance, which I hope is clear for you. And another point I just forgot to mention, here after differentiating we have considered S is equals to 1 unit. That is, we are considering junction capacitance per unit area, and S is the cross sectional area and unit area is nothing but S is equals to 1. That's why in the next equation we are not having the value of S because it is considered as 1. 1 square is again 1. So till now whatever we have dealt, it is the PN junction at equilibrium. Again you come across the junction capacitance in reverse bias condition, and in our next class we are going to deal with the characteristics of PN junction, that is especially biasing and its corresponding potential, that is forward bias, reverse bias, the IV characteristics, etc. will be discussed in our next class. Till then, study well and stay tuned for more physics related videos. Thank you.